France, 1899-1906. Henry and Jacques de Morgan in Suza, 1909-1910. Leon Henry Martin, 1906-1920, and his daughter Germaine in France, 1976. Louis Capiton in France, 1929. René de Saint-Péria and his wife Suzanne in France, 1935. Fernand Bisson de la Roque in Egypt, 1922-1950. Bernard Bouyer in Egypt, 1920-1951. Raymond Whale in Egypt, 1952. Pierre Montet in Egypt, 1921-1956. Jean-Marie Casal in the Indus Valley and Afghanistan, 1950-1973. Suzanne de Saint-Mathurin in France, 1973. André Parrot in Marie, Syria, 1931-1974. Claude Frederick Armand Schiefer in Ugarit, Syria, 1929-1970. Roman Gershman in Iraq and Iran, 1931-1972. Satellites and offshoots. Several museums in and outside France have been or are placed under the Louvre's administrative authority or linked to it through exclusive partnerships, while not being located in the Louvre Palace. Since 2019, the Louvre has also maintained a large art storage and research facility in the northern French town of Louvre in the Centre de Conservation du Louvre, which is not open to the public. 141, Musée de Cluny, 1926-1977. In February 1926, the Musée de Cluny, whose creation dates back to the 19th century, was brought under the aegis of the Louvre's Department of Decorative Arts, Objets d'Art. 142. That affiliation was terminated in 1977. 143, Musée du Jeu de Paume, 1947-1986. The Jeu de Paume building in the Tuileries Garden, initially intended as a sports venue, was repurposed from 1909 as an art gallery. In 1947, it became the exhibition space for the Louvre's collections of late 19th and early 20th paintings, most prominently Impressionism, as the Louvre Palace was lacking space to display them, and was consequently brought under direct management by the Louvre's Département des Peintures. In 1986, these collections were transferred to the newly created Musée d'Orsay. 144, Gypsothèque du Louvre, since 2001. The Gypsothèque, plaster cast gallery, of the Louvre is a collection of plaster casts that was formed in 1970 by the reunion of the corresponding inventories of the Louvre, the Beaux-Arts de Paris and the Art and Archaeology Institute of the Sorbonne University, the latter two following depredations during the May 68 student unrest. Initially called the Musée des Monuments Antiques from 1970 to 1978, the project was subsequently left unfinished and only came to fruition after being brought under the Louvre's management by ministerial decision in 2001. 145. It is located in the Petite Écurie, a dependency of Versailles Palace, and has been open to the public since 2012. 146, Musée de la Croix, since 2004. The small museum located in Eugène Delacroix's former workshop in central Paris, created in the 1930s, has been placed under management by the Louvre since 2004. 147, Louvre Lens, since 2012. The Louvre Lens follows a May 2003 initiative by then Culture Minister Jean-Jacques Seylagan to promote cultural projects outside of Paris that would make the riches of major Parisian institutions available to a broader French public, including a satellite antenne of the Louvre. 148, after several rounds of competition, a former mining site in the town of Lens, was selected for its location and announced by Prime Minister Jean-Pierre Raffarin on the 29th of November, 2004. Japanese architects Sana and landscape architect Catherine Mosbach were respectively selected in September 2005 to design the museum building and garden. Inaugurated by President François Hollande on the 4th of December 2012, the Louvre Lens is run by the Hauts-de-France region under a contract, Convention Scientifique et Culturelle, with the Louvre for art loans and grand use. Its main attraction is an exhibition of roughly 200 artworks from the Louvre on a rotating basis presented chronologically in a single large room, the Galerie du Temps or Gallery of Time, that transcends geographical and object-type divisions along which the Parisian Louvre's displays are organized. The Louvre Lens has been successful at attracting around 500,000 visitors per year until the COVID-19 pandemic. 149, Louvre Abu Dhabi, since 2017. The Louvre Abu Dhabi is a separate entity from the Louvre, but the two entities have a multifaceted contractual relationship that allows the Emirati Museum to use the Louvre name until 2037, and to exhibit artworks from the Louvre until 2027. 150. It was inaugurated on the 8th of November 2017 and opened to the public 3 days later. A 30-year agreement, signed in early 2007 by French Culture Minister Renaud Donadieu de Vabres and Sheikh Sultan bin Tarnoon Al Nahyan, establishes that Abu Dhabi shall pay €832,000,000, $1.3 billion, in exchange for the Louvre name use, managerial advice, art loans, and special exhibitions. 151. The Louvre Abu Dhabi is located on Sardiat Island and was designed by the French architect Jean Nouvel and engineering firm of Bureau Happel. 152. It occupies 24,000 square meters, 260,000 square feet, and is covered by an iconic metallic dome designed to cast rays of light mimicking sunlight passing through date palm fronds in an oasis. The French art loans, expected to total between 200 and 300 artworks during a 10-year period, come from multiple museums, including the Louvre, the Centre Georges Pompidou, the Musée d'Orsay, Versailles, the Guimet Museum, the Musée Rodin, and the Musée Jacques Branly. 153. Controversy. The Louvre is involved in controversies that surround cultural property seized under Napoleon I, as well as during World War II by the Nazis. In the early 2010s, workers' rights in the construction of Louvre Abu Dhabi were also a point of controversy for the museum. Napoleonic looting. Napoleon's campaigns acquired Italian pieces by treaties, as war reparations, and Northern European pieces as spoils, as well as some antiquities excavated in Egypt, though the vast majority of the latter were seized as war reparations by the British Army and are now part of collections of the British Museum. On the other hand, the Dendra zodiac is, like the Rosetta Stone, claimed by Egypt even though it was acquired in 1821 before the Egyptian anti-export legislation of 1835. The Louvre administration has thus argued in favor of retaining this item despite requests by Egypt for its return. The museum participates too in arbitration sessions held via USCO's Committee for Promoting the Return of Cultural Property to its countries of origin. 154. The museum consequently returned in 2009 5 Egyptian fragments of frescoes, 30 cm x 15 cm each, whose existence of the tomb of origin had only been brought to the authorities' attention in 2008. 8 to 5 years after their good faith acquisition by the museum from 2 private collections and after the necessary respect of the procedure of déclassement from French public collections before the Commission Scientifique Nationale des Collections des Musées de France. 155. Nazi looting. During Nazi occupation, thousands of artworks were stolen. 156. But after the war, 61,233 articles on more than 150,000 seized artworks returned to France and were assigned to the Office des Biens Privés. 157. In 1949, it entrusted 2,130 unclaimed pieces, including 1,001 paintings, to the Direction des Musées de France in order to keep them under appropriate conditions of conservation until their restitution, and meanwhile classified them as MNRs, Musées Nationaux Récupération, or, in English, the National Museums of Recovered Artwork. Some 10% to 35% of the pieces are believed to come from Jewish spoliations. 158. And until the identification of their rightful owners, which declined at the end of the 1960s, they are registered indefinitely on separate inventories from the museum's collections. 159. They were exhibited in 1946 and shown all together to the public during 4 years, 1950-1954, in order to allow rightful claimants to identify their properties, then stored or displayed, according to their interest, in several French museums including the Louvre. From 1951 to 1965, about 37 pieces were restituted. Since November 1996, the partly illustrated catalogue of 1947-1949 has been accessible online and completed. In 1997, Prime Minister Alain Juppé initiated the Mattielli Commission, headed by Jean Mattielli, to investigate the matter, and according to the government, the Louvre is in charge of 678 pieces of artwork still unclaimed by their rightful owners. 160. During the late 1990s, the comparison of the American archives, which had not been done before, with the French and German ones, as well as 2 court cases which finally settled some of the heirs' rights, Gentili di Giuseppe and Rosenberg families, allowed more accurate investigations. Since 1996, the restitutions, according sometimes to less formal criteria, concerned 47 more pieces, 26 paintings, with 6 from the Louvre including a then displayed Tiepolo, until the last claims of French owners and their heirs ended again in 2006. According to Serge Klasfeld, since the now complete and constant publicity which the artworks got in 1996, the majority of the French Jewish community is nevertheless in favor of the return to the normal French civil rule of prescription acquisitive of any unclaimed good after another long period of time, and consequently to their ultimate integration into the common French heritage instead of their transfer to foreign institutions like during World War II. Construction of Louvre Abu Dhabi. In 2011, over 130 international artists urged a boycott of the new Guggenheim Museum as well as Louvre Abu Dhabi, citing reports since 2009, of abuses of foreign construction workers on Saadiyat Island, including the arbitrary withholding of wages, unsafe working conditions, and failure of companies to pay or reimburse the steep recruitment fees being charged to laborers. 161, 162. According to Architectural Record, Abu Dhabi has comprehensive labor laws to protect the workers, but they are not conscientiously implemented or enforced. 163. In 2010, the Guggenheim Foundation placed on its website a joint statement with Abu Dhabi's Tourism Development and Investment Company, TDIC, recognizing the following workers' rights issues, among others, health and safety of the workers, their access to their passports and of the documents that the employers have been retaining to guarantee that they stay on the job, using a general contractor that agrees to obey the labor laws, maintaining an independent site monitor, and ending the system that has been generally used in the Persian Gulf region of requiring workers to reimburse recruitment fees. 164. In 2013, the Observer reported that conditions for the workers at the Louvre and New York University construction sites on Saudi amounted to modern-day slavery. 165. 166. In 2014, the Guggenheim's director, Richard Armstrong,